Hi, everyone. It is time for our weekly live. How are we doing today? Happy Thursday once again. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who are watching us live, or maybe you're watching the rebroad, it is just awesome to have you here. So on today's live, we wanted to pick up where we left off. Hi, Chrissy. We wanted to pick up where we left off a couple of weeks ago, and that was your questions, okay? And we wanted to answer your questions. So I hope I get to them all. I know some of you just submitted them, so I'll see. Hopefully I'll get through everything, and if not, we'll do another one of these when we start our next session, and I'll answer those again, okay? So on our first Q&A, for reference, if you didn't watch it, here is what we talked about, okay? So you can go back and you can have a look. And I don't remember what I was wearing, but it's only a couple back, and you can see what we were talking about. Healthy snack options, we talked about. Snacking versus no snacking. Is it good to snack? Is it not good to snack? What should I do? We talked about carbs, simple versus complex, okay? How to get a flat tummy, we talked about that. How the ab work is only a small portion of it, so you can go back for reference and listen to that. And two more, workout overkill, can I work out too much? And collagen supplementation, okay? So if any of those topics interest you or you need to review, I encourage you to go back to our Q&A that we did a couple of weeks ago and watch for those answers, okay? So let's get started. So we have question number 1, and this question comes to us from Cambridge. And the question is this. I am training for my first run. I'm very excited. I'm planning on doing a 10K. What do you think of running gels, sports drinks for training purposes, and then the run? Okay. I actually get this question quite often. And for those of you watching who've never heard of gels or supplements, you know what they are. I have one here. It's a BioStill product. And it's like, I guess we can think of it like a Gatorade, right? But this is kind of their natural version of a Gatorade. And you put this in your water, and then you're supposed to take it after your workout. So the question is, do I need these? Okay. So these products, just so you know, are designed to replenish lost glycogen stores, or the carbohydrates that are in our muscles that we use for fuel, and we burn off during the workout, and boom, we put it back in. That's what these are for, okay? So I just want to review, and we talked about this a couple of lives ago, and that is when we take in a carbohydrate, and once it's digested, it's broken down and converted into glucose, and glucose we use for quick energy, and then whatever glucose we don't use, we store this as glycogen in the muscles in the liver. And that's what we will use to fuel our workouts, okay? So that's what's going to fuel you through boot camp, or if you're doing a light jog, or if you're doing a run, that's going to come from the glycogen within your muscles. So the question is, how much glycogen do I have in my system, and is it going to sustain me, or do I need to take this, okay? So that answer is going to depend on many things. It depends on how many carbohydrates you had the night before, how old are you, what is your fitness level, what is the intensity, but basically, there was about 600 grams or so in your muscles. I think it's 100 in your liver. The point is, it will sustain you for maybe 40 to 60 minutes of light to moderate activity. Okay, that should be, so basically when you come to a boot camp class, you should have enough in your system to get you through. So if you're going to know if you're running out of glycogen in your muscle, because hi guys, because what that's going to do is it's going to feel like you're really pushing, you're really running out of energy. Maybe you felt that way before. You didn't have something to eat before class, and then all of a sudden you felt really slow and sluggish. So that means that, you know, you've depleted your glycogen resources. So basically running a 5K, probably way too short to use these, absolutely, because it depends on, of course, the speed you're going at and the time. But remember, 40 to 60 minutes we can sustain on our own if we're eating carbohydrate-rich dinner and breakfast, and I'll go over that in a minute. 10K, again, probably a little short. Now, I have to say, this isn't really my area of expertise. I only run 10Ks. I've never done anything beyond that. And I know there's some of you watching who have done half marathons and marathons, and you probably have your own way of fueling your body. So I can only talk about the 10K, the 5K, because I've never done a half marathon, and you guys are awesome who have done that, because that's incredible. Anyway, so you might find that you don't need any of this stuff, okay? Because it's really under an hour or so. You want to be really careful with marketing, because they'll tell you that you need this, okay? Also keep in mind, this is basically like taking a bunch of sugar and putting it in your system, because that's what really you're doing to replenish those stores. So remember that we've learned from our video on cravings that sugar is going to spike your insulin, right? And then you're going to drop. And then when we have insulin in our blood sugar rather, and then we're going to drop, and then the insulin comes out. And when we have a lot of insulin in our system, we don't want that because it signals fat storage. So you want to be careful with these. If you are going to take them, you certainly don't need to take them before. What I would suggest is having a carbohydrate-rich dinner, so a combination of complex and simple. We talked about that a couple of Facebook Lives ago. So a good combination of carbohydrates that take a little bit for your body to break down, so that's a complex, and a simple. And the same thing in the morning, a mix of complex carbs and simple, and about 2 to 3 hours before your run. Okay, is what you need. And then if you do need to take them, probably about 40 minutes in, or when you start to feel sluggish. Now, interestingly, you can do this naturally without any supplements, and it's called coconut water. And coconut water is full, I don't have anything to show you here. Coconut water is full of electrolytes. It is amazing for you. It doesn't have anything artificial. You can even take that after class as well, because it's the same thing. You're replenishing your glycogen stores. You just don't want to take too much, because once those muscles are full, that's when we start to store as fat, right? So we want just enough. I think before I've talked about when you're done your workout, even a little bit, a handful of grapes along with your protein shake really helps replenish that those glycogen stores, but also make you feel more energetic. Okay, so more on insulin and glycemic index in the Facebook Live we did on sugar cravings. Okay. Oh, and gels or liquids. Some of you might wonder, if you're a runner, you know, do I do a gel? Do I do a liquid? This turns into that turns into a liquid. I just read a story that said a study that said they both perform about the same. However, runners who took gels reported more GI discomfort, so digestive issues. Okay, so it's up to you, but certainly water is plenty, especially with our boot camp classes. You don't need to take that stuff. We're not working as hard. We're not working as long, especially those 40 minutes classes. Water, coconut water, if you want to go one step up to get those electrolyte replenishing, especially if it's a hot day. Okay, number 2. My husband constantly sabotages me by bringing yummy snacks into the home. What can I do? Okay, this is really common. I'm sure we've all been there before. You know you've been working really hard, you're watching your food, and then your husband sits on the couch, eats Doritos, and looks at you, and you're like, oh, come on, like I can't have those, right? It's really hard. You can probably relate to this. So it may not be intentional, but the fact is it's happening. Okay, so you could do a number of things. You could try speaking, if you have, you know, a wonderful relationship and you're both supportive of each other, and you can say, you know, honey, I love you very much, but when we bring those Doritos, it's just, can you eat them in another room? Can you take them out of sight? Just please know this is really important to me. But even if you try speaking to him, it still might not stop it, because it could be intentional in other areas. Like maybe it could be a stop for a coffee and he grabs a donut, or you're going out for dinner and he's ordering dessert. So it's always going to be there. So I would say that anytime we want to make changes in our life, and this is, you know, a great lesson that I've learned over the years of trying to make changes, that no matter what we do, whether it's within our health, with our health, or maybe it's finances, or maybe our relationships, we've got to accept absolutely full responsibility. So it's up to us no matter what. That's going to be the only way we can make changes, when we take responsibility for our actions and for our results. So blame is really just another one of those ways we kind of wrap up excuses there, right? We do it all the time as moms. You know, we do it with our kids, or, oh, we have to eat off their plate, or they didn't finish this, we have to finish it, or we've got hockey, we can't get to any places that give us nutritious food. Or I caught myself doing it last week. I was talking about a family function, and I said, oh, there's never anything healthy to eat. And then I thought, what am I saying? That's not, you know, that's not their problem. They serve whatever they need. It's up to me to make sure I'm staying healthy. I'm doing what is best for me. I'm the only one who puts that food in my mouth. Like, your husband isn't there putting the Doritos, or maybe yes, I don't know, putting the Doritos down your throat. So it's all about, it comes to responsibility. And that's hard because we've got these things happening. We're busy moms. We've got stuff going on. And if you are busy and say, you're not getting to your workouts or you're not staying on plan, being okay with that and saying, okay, now I know I've got a lot happening at work. I'm going to focus on work right now, and that's okay with me. But realize you are in charge of making the decision where the focus is going to go. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Now, of course, it is easier when you have a supportive family, but not all of us have supportive families, and the real support has got to come from within. And how do we do that? How do we stay motivated from within? And if you remember the small step message from this week, it was the power within you is greater than the power outside of you. So, looking deep, being in groups like this, being around supportive, positive, uplifting people, reading self-help books, reading and learning about yourself, journaling, all that will help you get connected with you and the reasons you do things. And it is all a journey. Okay, so hopefully that helps. The next one I actually had, I think it was Karen. She just posted a couple of questions and I can get to them. She asked, I'm going to just go back because I saw they came in from Guelph, and it was number 1, will cellulite go away with exercise? So Karen, it will, exercise is going to help. It's going to get things moving. Squats are going to help. Cardio is going to help, but it just may not take it away. 90% of women experience cellulite, and what it is when the layers of fat beneath the skin, they push against the connective tissue, and you can see it now. There's many factors that affect that. Hormones, everything is hormones. It's water. You want to make sure you're drinking a lot of water. You want to make sure you're moving a lot. And lymphatic drainage massages can be really helpful. And so is, I had a chance to grab it. Hang on. This is dry brushing. Dry brushing is awesome for to stimulate the lymphatic system. So what you do, you can get these brushes anywhere at a natural health market. And all you're going to do is twice a day, you're going to brush upwards towards your heart. This is wet from the shower. Yuck. You're going to brush upwards towards your heart. Okay. So that means you're always going to go towards your heart. So your heart's here, you're going to go towards your heart, and then on the bottom up towards your heart. And you want to do that even, 3 to 5 minutes in the morning and at night before you get in the shower, and you do that dry. And what that does is it really gets things moving, and that can help. Okay, so dry brushing can really help for cellulite. I mentioned water, massage, but absolutely, and watching the amount of carbohydrates and sugar we have as well. Okay, because we want it, that's going to spike insulin, that's going to affect hormones. We want to just continue to eat that balanced mix of protein, carbs, and fats that we've been talking about. Okay, that was that question. And I think you had, will I ever lose my belly fat? Yes, belly fat, but belly fat can also be digestive issues. So we talked a couple of, I want to say calls, but they're not calls anymore, they're lives. We used to do calls when we first started doing this. We talked about the low FODMAP diet, and that's a diet that's been scientifically shown, and I shared the link there, to reduce bloating, because sometimes the carbohydrates that we're taking in, the vegetables that we're taking in, are the type of carbohydrates that promote fermentation, and then the bacteria feeds on that, creates gases, and you get lots of bloating. So it may just be a digestive issue. So looking at maybe food sensitivities, food allergies, and lots of water, and watching those starchy carbs as well, that will really, really help. You had another question. Let me just go back. Can I lose belly fat if I take apple cider vinegar daily? Okay, that's a good question, because there's lots of buzz about apple cider vinegar. I should have brought one to show you. There is benefit with apple cider vinegar it's been shown to lower blood sugars and boost the ability to produce stomach acid. In fact, if you take it, I just read a study when I was finishing my culinary nutrition, and it was on taking it 15 minutes prior to your meals can actually help you stimulate with the stomach acids to break everything down. So it can be very, very beneficial. Will it get rid of belly fat? I think you have to be doing all those. I think it could be a nice aid with keeping things clear and going and running smoothly, because your gut health is really so important to everything, and it will keep things moving. But certainly a benefit when you purchase how do you take apple cider vinegar? Dilute it in water, a teaspoon in water. See how that goes. There is a drink that you can do that I do in the morning with lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. Maybe I'll post that in a little bit so you can see what that is. And that's to stimulate the digestive juices as well, give you a kickstart. Now, when you purchase apple cider vinegar, you want to be very careful. You don't want to just buy it in a regular, in a grocery store line, like in a grocery store where all the vinegars are. You want to go to the health food section, and you want to get the one with the mother, it's called. The mother is that stringy, when you look at it, it almost looks dirty, and that is the bacteria that's really going to help you with everything, okay? So hope that answers your question there. Is detoxing good for you? Okay, so detoxing is great for you. However, I say that because there are different types of detoxing. So if you're someone who has caffeine or extra sugar or white pasta or flours, just eliminating those is enough to detoxify your system. It just means giving your system a break. So if you're unsure of how to do that and you haven't checked out our meal plan on the Buff Mom, on the Buff Mom TV, and also in your registration package, there's a shorter version. You can do that because that is enough. You don't have to go on a certain juice cleanse, or you have to go get special foods. Just taking those things out that cause inflammation in the system. Sometimes it's dairy for people. Other times it's gluten. Other times it's caffeine, will be good for you and give you a break. And then you can slowly bring those items back in very slowly to see how you do. Okay, so yes, giving your body a rest is absolutely good, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go but get special potions and powders. You can do it at home by just removing some of those irritants. Okay, and I think there was one more question you had, and it was, I need more ideas for small steps. Okay, so small steps, again, the term is when we set a big goal. The idea is we set a big goal because big goals are awesome, but as human beings, when we set something super big, we get freaked out and we run the other way. So one way around that is to set really tiny goals, incremental goals, and you want to set something that is going to give you results. So if you're setting things and you're hitting them, awesome. If you're setting them and you're not hitting them, you make that small step even smaller. And what that small step is going to be very different for every person. You have to think of your goal first. And if your goal, for example, is running a 10K race in the spring, your small step every week is going to be different than the person who wants to shed 15 inches. So you've really just got to go back to your goal. What is your overall vision and what are you working towards? And then the small step will come from there. Okay, so maybe it might be increasing your water. Maybe it might be learning how to cook 2 new recipes. Maybe it's journaling every night, writing down your small steps the night before so you know you're committed to it. Maybe it's getting together with some girlfriends and doing a meal exchange. Okay, so little things like that, and I hope that helps you because it's going to be different for everybody. And as we go through these presentations, little things will pop up as well that will give you more ideas. So those are awesome, awesome questions. Final question is, where do I go next? And that is, I've done the 6 weeks or the 7 weeks. Where do I go next? And some of you may have had a good session. Some of you may have had, a not so great session. Some things worked, some things didn't work. Maybe you were great with your fitness, but you fell off with your food, and that's okay. That's okay. The exercise, you've probably figured this out by now, is the easiest part. It's the mindset and the food that become a little bit more challenging, and that's because those are rooted in habits that we've been doing for years. And think of how long you've been doing something, and it takes a long time for you to change it. So you keep trying to change it. So what I would say is you just want to focus on your mindset. Really have a look on your mindset, and even just shifting the focus. If you're finding you didn't get the results you're looking for, you've got a little bit more ways to go. Shifting the focus from it's all about inches to just doing something for you and taking care of you. I do a lot of one-on-one lifestyle coaching with people where we're working through mindset stuff. It's all mindset. You've probably figured this out. And as soon as we shift that focus from losing weight because I need to or I can't fit into my clothes to doing something for me and loving myself, amazing things happen. Okay, so maybe for you, if you didn't get those results, it's going to be a mindset shift and looking at this completely differently. Okay, and I am going to leave you with a quote, and it's a Louise Hay quote. I love quotes. You are not a helpless victim of your own thoughts, but rather a master of your own mind. Okay, so that is it. You guys have done an awesome job. This is our final live for this session. Let us know if you like these, what else you want to hear. Do you want to hear them more? Do we continue them? Do you like our group? We want your feedback, so you can just leave it in the comments below. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. A reminder, we have no classes next week. It is a break and replenish time, which means take care of you, spend time with your family, get some light walking in, enjoy the change of the seasons, lots and lots of water, and then get that energy ready because we're going to get right back at it on the 22nd of April. Okay? Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.